Tonight we're going to have a serious conversation about a thing that some people don't think is very serious.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Koch Comfort Solutions.
And I have to say, that's a really silly way to open up the program, but sports takes on a serious meaning for a lot of people, and then comparative to the things that we deal with every day, from Washington to our State House, to your own daily lives, and trying to get bread on the table and keep everybody happy and healthy, it's not that big a deal. And I understand that, but I read a piece this week by Bill Koch, the sports writer of the Providence Journal, who's no stranger to the program. I consider him a professional friend. I also think he's a really terrific writer because he doesn't always make everybody happy. And he wrote some things this week about the URI basketball program, fresh off its successful run, that I think are worth contemplating. Interestingly enough, Coach Hurley is due here for the program Monday. So it'll be interesting to see if he has any reaction to some of the things Bill says. Friday nights, we don't have a rundown because we record our programs on Thursday, and ironically and coincidentally, there's a celebration for URI that was scheduled at 5 o'clock last night, but that's 4 hours from the time that we're actually recording the show, so we don't have much production of that, but we'll include that stuff into the program on Monday. Disclosure. I'm on the payroll at URI on a part-time basis to be the public address announcer. I am a fan of the program. I'm a fan of the administration, but I understand that there are things that some folks want to have said about the program. And I think what Bill wrote was, in many ways, constructive about its current status and growing the status. So keep that in mind. There'll be more questions from me than commentary, but Bill's piece is a must-read if you didn't see it in the Tuesday edition of the Providence Journal. Just a reminder, the whole thing ended, unfortunately, the other night, Sunday night, when Oregon came back from a 13-point deficit. There's Stanford Robinson with a basket. Played incredibly well. The team just went on a run that will always be remembered, I think, as a historic one. But you know what? There's only one team in the 68-team field at the NCAA that actually finishes happy. No, should they have won that game? That's what sports are about, right? There's all sorts of arguments that are made. But you can't deny that the run that they've been on has been phenomenal. And here is Coach Hurley trying to keep everybody up at the end of that ball game, talking about how, for the most part, couldn't have done any more. Obviously, they're not feeling very good about it. That's what you're supposed to look like when you lose.
Couldn't have done more.
Couldn't have done more.
Couldn't be proud. Amazing.
And that's Bill, what you expect him to say, right? As he's walking the guys back to the locker room.
He should be proud. It was an amazing effort.
It was.
He's right. Those kids did something that hadn't been done at Rhode Island since 1999. And, you know, for them to sort of put this group together in a partnership, really, you know, he sold them on a chance to do these things, to win the Atlantic 10, to play in the NCAAs. And the players took a leap of faith. Like he said, you know, throughout the season. E.C. Matthews had other options. Hassan Martin had other options. Karan Iverson had other options. Jared Terrell had other options. They were all highly recruited, highly regarded players coming out of high school, or in Iverson's case when he was transferring from Memphis. But they all decided to come together in Kingston based on a vision that ultimately they executed. You know, and that found them in Sacramento playing against Oregon, a program that's funded by Nike founder Phil Knight, which has piles of cash that could stack higher than the Ryan Center. You know, and that's the wonderful thing about the tournament. You have some of the smaller guys playing against some of the bigger guys and standing toe-to-toe and proving that, yes, on a given night, they belong playing those bigger guys.
So this is a fascinating conversation on X number of levels, because I think there's a growing sentiment in the country with the NCAA that they are going to continue to stack the deck in the favor of the big conferences and the big schools, and that schools like URI and the A-10 conference in general will continue to battle uphill. You agree?
Well, they are, and mainly it's financial reasons. You know, the bigger conferences have the bigger TV deals. They have generally bigger fundraising arms, bigger marketing arms. They can bring in more revenue, which means they can spend more on their programs. But as Rhode Island and more recently VCU have proven by making the Final Four, there's still room for the smaller guys on that stage.
All right, so the conversation tonight is going to be, here's the headline that Bill had the other day. It's time for URI to build on this momentum. Without getting into the details, and we're going to cover some of your major postulates here. You write this piece, why?
Because I think it's time to say they're finally in a position of strength. And I think a lot of times people only want to advance out of positions of weakness because they feel like they should do things to try to get up to a certain standard. And this is the point where maybe they've reached that standard and now it's time to do more. Do you really want to have something excellent? Do you really want to have something sustainable? And you look at Providence and what they've done, making 4 straight NCAAs for the first time in the program history.
And we should note the Cooley's run is with the team that he had is as impressive as URI's.
It's fantastic. But what they're doing from there is they're adding a $40 million practice facility. They're going to continue to add things to their program. They're not content at stopping at 4 straight NCAAs. And if you're Rhode Island, you've made the NCAA for the first time in 18 years. It's a wonderful thing. You should celebrate it. But do you want to feel it again in the immediate future? That requires you to do more to make that happen.
So as a sports writer, I want to dig into, because you make some arguments and some clinical arguments that I think are interesting to follow along. But in totality, what is your motive in writing really what is a consultant piece to the program? I viewed it as a consultancy to the program. You want to see them grow because it helps the sports world, the journal's coverage. I mean, listen, we all have this almost undefinable sports fanship of programs. Your job is to be journalistically objective as much as that's possible in the sports world. So your motive to say, hey, here's my consultation on what this program has got to do to not only maintain its success but get better is what?
Well, full disclosure, I did not go to the school. I'm not a fan of any of the state schools. I went to college out of state like you did. You know, my thoughts are looking at this program and the work that's gone into it, that's been put in by the players and put in by Dan Hurley just to get to this point. I think it's been a remarkable effort. And I look at that effort in terms of the scope of it, the length of it, and I think they had to battle this hard just to get to a place of respectability. You know, and I think it's...
And you're suggesting that they did that without the administration? I mean obviously...
No. The administration has backed them more so than Rhode Island's administration has backed the program at previous times. You know, they've been creative. They've given them things. They've extended Dan's contract 2 or 3 times, added salary, added some charter flights, you know, added positions on the staff, whether it be, you know, giving them an extra athletic trainer or a director of basketball performance, you know, or allowing Dan to hire his own academic people. The administration has, you know, done right by the program, but there's always more that you can do, and I think that's, you know, that's my point. Maybe being a Rhode Islander, being from here, there's always a, you know, sort of a thought that, you know, we're doing things well enough. You know, and that it's good enough and that the standard has been met. And there's very rarely in Rhode Island the ethos to, hey, let's exceed that standard. Let's do something excellent. Let's do something the best in the nation. And when you do those things, you're able to take a great deal of pride in them. And so I look at the state university and I think, you're on the precipice of doing something really good. You've already done something really good. But you could have something really good and really sustainable for Rhode Island going forward that the state can take pride in, and here's how you can do it.
All right, well, that's a perfect setup. When we come back, Phil makes a series of suggestions in this article. I think you'll find it fascinating, even if you're not, you know, an intimate basketball or URI fan or supporter. Stay with us. The airport return the other morning after the Sunday loss at Oregon. We also should have some airport coverage of the return from the Atlantic 10 Championship, which was highly more exciting because they were on the momentum and had earned their bid to the NCAA tournament. This conversation with Bill Koch is recorded yesterday, if you're watching it for the first time on Friday night. So some of the celebration at URI doesn't make the cut, but Coach Hurley's actually scheduled on Monday. And no, the show hasn't turned to a sports talk show, but scheduling sometimes, comes out this way. And we are in the middle of March Madness, and sometimes it's nice to take a break from Washington and how crazy it is, and at the State House and everything else that's going on. And I consider this to be a sports serious conversation, not just, hey, who's going to win, and hey, who's a fan of who. This is a pretty serious essay that Bill Koch put together in the paper. Let's just put the headline up one more time, Kev. Before we get to some of your consultant suggestions to the program, you make a point about the former administrations and the URI program having succeeded at a certain level, and then the ball was dropped and the whole thing fell apart. You think you're much more bullish on this particular group at URI? I
think David Dooley, the university president, and Thorpe Bjorn, the athletic director, are far more capable than previous administrations. And I think they've already shown that with the commitment that they've made to hire Dan Hurley, to bring him in, to retain him, in the face of a couple serious advances by Rutgers in the past. And I certainly think that they're committed to moving this thing forward. I think a lot of what's going to go on now, maybe in the next couple months, is just sort of putting that machinery in place and coming to a cooperative solution of how they can put that machinery in place.
All right, let's go down. These excerpts, by the way, are not necessarily in the order that you find them in the essay, just for production purposes, but let me see on my screen here. One of the things you say, and you list, your style was to say, if you want to do it right, it means this. And one of your first that means taking several important steps to ensure URI continues on its rise as a program. That's a general statement, but give me the underbelly.
It basically means that you want to make the program sustaining regardless of who coaches it. You look at what's going on at VCU right now, which is a big Atlantic 10 rival of Rhode Island's. They just hired Mike Rhodes, who was a former assistant coach there. Will Wade left after 2 years to go to LSU. They've had Jeff Capel, Anthony Grant, Shaka Smart, Will Wade, all coach there, all make the NCAAs, and all leave for bigger jobs. It's okay to be a stepping stone job if VCU is going to be a stepping stone job, but it is a very high level one in which coaches have a chance to advance. That means your applicants will be much better, and obviously your machinery is very solid if all of those coaches are able to have success.
Well, isn't the nature of the game the success of Coach Hurley right now, building this program back to the NCAA in a 5-year, and frankly, if injuries hadn't occurred, he probably would have got there quicker. You agree?
I do.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't it kind of speak for itself that there will now, if and when Dan Hurley decides to exit, which I don't think it's going to be right away, do you?
No. No, he has the Atlantic 10 favorites next year.
Right. So why look that gift horse in the mouth?
That's right.
But isn't it just by the definition of the success going to keep the tide risen in terms of who wants that job?
Absolutely. But it's also going to invite suitors to court him because obviously he's done the job very well.
All right. Well, speaking of that, second, that means, we'll post here, that means further revisions to Hurley's contract, another 1-year extension or more as a means of strengthening several key components. He's extended to where now?
2022.
Okay, well, that's another 5. They always want at least more than 4 years so they can tell a recruit, I'll be there the entire time.
That's correct.
So you think he should get another extension, and is there a bump that has to come along with this?
Well, for me, the extension is more a means of reopening the contract so that you can put those sort of enhancements that he would like in there. It's just like anything that's collectively bargained, whether it be unions and the organization that they work with. You'd like to maybe put some charter flights in there. It's a very nice image of them coming home after winning the Atlantic 10 championship, but you're sliding the A-10 trophy through airport security. If you're Dayton or VCU, that's probably not happening.
Casual viewers to this show are thinking, are you two guys kidding me?
Right.
I mean, are you kidding me that you're sitting here talking about charter flights versus connecting flights? I mean, would you guys get a life, right?
Sure, probably.
But what's the nuance of it? Inside that college basketball world, it's really important because...
Makes travel easier. It gets your kids in class. Recruiting-wise, you can say...
the kids don't go to class. What are you talking?
Of course they do.
This is the outside... I mean, if you're on an NCAA run, you better have a good tutor program because there's a lot of missed class. But they do have to go to class.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course they do. It's academics in the NCAA now, I would say, are more legitimate than they were 30, 40 years ago because there's so much more oversight now. You think that on social media, if Karan Iverson wasn't going to class, he wouldn't be found out by somebody? This isn't 1995 anymore where he can just hide in his dorm room.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
And we're not, that's just a hypothetical. You're not naming Karan
No,
Iverson.
certainly not. Certainly not.
All right, so is there a requirement to get Hurley to the financial level that Cooley's at? I mean, Cooley's reportedly making in the $2 million range, something like that. Hurley crosses the seven-figure line, I think, with the next year anyway.
I think coaches more want an opportunity to win, more so, well, in Dan Hurley's case anyway, more so than to be paid, you know, the highest level in the conference, to be the highest paid coach in the conference. What that means is if he has ideas for his program, whether it be charter flights to every game, you know, whether that be more money for his assistant coaches, you know, whether that be a little more power over scheduling, he wants to operate at the highest level in the league. He wants the program machinery that VCU has and that Dayton has so that he can beat them on a consistent basis. So that's more important than salary.
So let's put up the next item there if we can. That means filling the Ryan Center on a regular basis. Actually, you know what? Go to the next one. I know we reversed the order here. This is just in the we'll go back. That and that marketing campaign is interesting. But give me the last one where you have. That means beating the bushes for donors, large and small, to make fresh contributions, because everything you're talking about requires money.
It does. And by getting to the NCAAs and winning a game, you're going to get NCAA credits. It's part of the TV deal, the TV shares. Those are paid out to all the participants.
Meaning more cash comes into the university.
Correct.
How much?
They parse that out at meetings in April or in May once they find out what the ratings were and what the shares will be. But they could be looking at upwards of $300,000–400,000 a year annually for the next 6 years.
Just for what they've already accomplished?
Yes. Yes. In addition to a conference-wide share that they'll get because Dayton and VCU both made the tournament. So this is a windfall for the University of Rhode Island. This success this year is a windfall for their program for the next 6 years. It's very significant.
Will they, by practice, and you know, I'm going to invite Thor Bjorn on to talk about this as well. Is this a dedicated revenue stream? In other words, will you think this stays in basketball?
I would hope so. You know, and that would certainly be something that, if you're the head coach, you would want to ensure that that stays in basketball. And coaches have left programs over such a thing.
So everybody's focused on the coach, and keeping the coach and keeping the coach. I mean, I see Danny certainly staying here at least another year. I mean, because this is going to be one heck of a program next year.
Yes.
Is there a chance that URI gets to the level where he or anybody else would never want to leave it?
Well, that's the hope, certainly. And if you're able to compete at the top of your conference every single year, you know, the gold standard is Gonzaga on the West Coast. They're in the West Coast Conference. Your casual viewers have never heard of the West Coast Conference, but Gonzaga is a one seed in this field and a legitimate power. They've been to the last 19 NCAAs, can recruit better than Washington, who is their big in-state rival who plays in the Pac-12, has a lot more money than Gonzaga. You know, but they are at the point where they are the gold standard for the quote-unquote mid-majors. You know, and that's what everyone aspires to. And how they've done that is they've just compounded that success. They've given the coach, Mark Few, who's been there the whole time, anything that he could ever want, whether it be a new arena, practice facility.
Well, we got an arena.
You know, anything like that.
Well, we should talk about that when we come back, because you make some notes about the arena, the crowd, and actually the marketing of the program. We'll get back to those notes. Stay with us. With Bill Koch of the Providence Journal, who's really almost an op-ed piece. I mean, it's what would you call it? It's really an analysis.
A commentary.
Yeah, commentary on the URI basketball program, talking about the things they have to do to grow the program. We've hit on 3 or 4 bullet points that if you've missed, check foxprovidence.com for any part of the conversation. The third one here, all of the stuff that we've been talking about, that means filling the Ryan Center on a regular basis, with atmospheres like VCU and Dayton becoming more the norm. Now listen, again, all disclosure, public address announcer, involved in interacting with that crowd. There's a 6,000 person, I mean, I've been there 5 years doing it myself. There's a 6,000 person line where the building changes completely.
Yes. It's a great venue.
It seats 7,800, but there's a 6,000 person line. If we had 6,000 or more, at that arena, it would change the nature of the place completely.
Completely. Yeah, it's a great venue. It's not a hockey venue, so the seats are very tight to the floor, very steep sides, so the noise sort of cascades down out of that upper deck. And as you know, Dan, you know, on nights where the crowd is in there and loud and engaged, makes a difference.
So, you have strong thoughts. We only have a few minutes. You have strong thoughts. And throw the last piece, because I think everything kind of runs together. The last thing is that means unleashing a sustained statewide blitz to regain some marketing share from Providence College. Wrap that all together for me.
I drove to the show and saw a billboard on 95 for Friartown, advertising Providence. You see them everywhere, whether it be in baggage claim at TF Green. There's a big wall mural that says "Welcome to Friartown." That's a private school, which has a great, strong, sustained brand. Rhode Island, as my good friend Chris Tisano, who writes for Koch Sports and who does a fair amount of analysis of URI basketball, would say, that is brand driven. Whereas Rhode Island a lot of times will market to a specific game. It's product driven. You know, and they need to do a better job of aligning themselves with a base and growing that base that can be all inclusive.
You think the base is there?
I think that what just happened here will energize whatever base is there. I don't think we know how much is there because it's been so long. It's been 18 years. And I think we're going to find out.
Is there room in the state for two die-hard, high-performing basketball programs?
Absolutely. It happens so many other places, and you look at a place like Providence, which has generational fans that tend to go back to the 70s, and Ernie DiGregorio and Marvin Barnes, and it's bred down in your families. There's room at that table for URI. It's just been so long since their last success that we don't really know what is there.
It's all going to come down to resources to grow resources. The state, editorial opinion, stinks the joint out in supporting the University of Rhode Island. So where are they going to get the dough in 60 seconds or less?
Well, this gives them an opportunity, and that was the main reason why I wrote this. It gives them an opportunity to go to fundraisers, to market more. They have some NCAA money now coming in. You figure if they continue to win, they make another NCAA tournament. That NCAA money continues to grow and helps fund the program. The exposure that they got over the past week, you know, playing nationally, winning a game, having Charles Barkley and Lamar Odom there.
And we may see some applications increase at URI. It always
Absolutely.
happens. So
Helps
this is
at every
about
other school.
academia.
Yes,
right?
of course.
Strange dynamic. So in sum, you're not really hypercritical of anything that's going on at the university right now. But they got to find a way to do more than rub sticks together to keep this thing moving, is what you're saying.
What I'm trying to point out is that there is a chance here to do something great, and I would love to see them capitalize on that chance.
Does it take political leadership in the state? 10 seconds.
The political leadership in the state has never helped them in the past. They only fund 9% of their general budget. I don't expect them to start doing that now.
So this is a self-sustaining story.
It has to be for now.
All right. Good analysis.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Final word and we come back. Be interesting to get the take from the URI administration on some of Bill Koch's thoughts, which I think for the most part, and actually in totality, were pretty constructive. By coincidence, head coach Dan Hurley is scheduled for the program on Monday, and we'll relive some of the success story and see what he thinks about some of these consultant recommendations from the beat writer. You have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday at 3 on WPRO. As always, thanks for watching.